We're just a few days into August and the new Nintendo Switches have finally started making their ways into stores. And I've actually been taking a little bit of time trying to hunt one of these down, and it's been a little difficult. I think part of the problem is that this isn't considered an entirely brand new console, so it's not something that has a hard release date where stores are trying to have it on that day, and instead it's being treated as just kind of a store replenishment. It's like, oh, you guys are out of Switches? Yeah, we'll send you some new ones. And oh, that's weird, it's now in a red box. So I had to go around a few different stores over the weekend, and I finally found one this morning at Walmart, and it definitely seems random who has it, because for instance, Beat 'em Ups grabbed his a full 2 days earlier at a GameStop. Just very lucky. I'm a little jealous. So now that we finally have one of these new Switches, it's time to unbox it and check it out. And I also grabbed a new original Switch that is unopened because I wanted to be able to do tests and comparisons based on something that is actually brand new and fresh out of the box and not my Switch that I've been using ever since launch. I want to see how a fresh battery on the original model compares to the new one. So before we open them, let's take a look at the boxes. Now, while this is just a model refresh and not considered something completely new, they have redesigned the box a bit. You'll see that instead of having the white background of the original one, we now have a red box. They also removed the hand from it and just lightly changed the composition of all the parts. The sides of these are exactly the same. The only differences here are because this is a red-blue model and this is a gray model. I wanted an easy way to differentiate them. The one place on the box that is very different is the back designs, where on the new refresh Switches, you can see it still has that red background and it's just showing close-ups of the Joy-Cons, where the original box featured the design of the Switch with Joy-Cons being pulled up. So, with that out of the way, let's start opening these up and see if there's anything different. Got this one here. So there's the original Switch, and that's the layout we're used to seeing. Joy-Cons right here, Switch right there. And as for the new Switch, and it is the exact same. Oh yeah. Okay, so the layout's the same here. One thing I want to check right away, this isn't the official full comparison because I want to go more in depth, but something that a lot of people who've been getting early versions of this new Switch have been saying is the Joy-Cons feel very different. And that's of course something a lot of people have been worrying about because, well, we're starting to find all those drift issues with Joy-Cons. So this might be a sign of changes they're making to address that issue. So let's go ahead and check out. This is the original one in gray. And the plastic does feel slightly different. That could be on account of the fact that this is a neon blue and this is a gray, but the plastic does feel a little bit smoother. Buttons feel roughly the same. Yeah, you know, a lot of people who've been opening these early have been making a real big deal about it feeling like a vastly different thing, and it might just be that I'm looking for it, that I'm noticing a slight difference, but it doesn't seem like something that's extremely obvious, at least right now. I'm gonna do some more tests and there'll be a proper full comparison, but right now, just my first impressions, it doesn't feel that vastly different. All right, well, let's put these aside for now and keep looking through the box. So of course we have the other Joy-Cons for the other sides. We'll just clean all this plastic out of the way for now. And of course, there are the Switches themselves. So here is the original model design. I guess they're both original model. The original, the old original. I'll figure out a better way to differentiate between these two eventually. And I'll just set that down for a moment. And then here is the new refresh. So fronts obviously look the exact same. This again is meant to be a light refresh. It is not any kind of major heavy duty one. The main point is the bigger battery life, and it does have a new processor as well, which likely isn't gonna have any major impact, but could be at least better for power efficiency and maybe slightly boost a few aspects of performance. Very minor though. And yeah, they definitely kept the exact same shell designs. I'm not noticing any. The only major noticeable difference right away is of course the model numbers at the top. You can see right here with this model number, it's HAC-001. I don't know if Rich, you wanna get really close to that? Get a tight shot of that? Yeah, so 001 is for the original model Switch, whereas for these refresh ones where it says model number, you're gonna see that same series of letters and numbers, but then an additional -01 in parentheses. That's gonna let you know that for sure this is the newer model. So if you buy one of these new red boxes and that model number's not on there, someone has messed with you. That is not good. Now, I really doubt this has been fixed, but something I'm immediately curious about is how the kickstands feel, if they're any different, because I have not made it any secret how much I hate these. Yep, that's the kickstand I know and hate. Let's try this one. Yeah, it's still. I'm just glad to have a new one on hand now because I know to just never open that kickstand and let it stay nice and flush and clean looking and not have it fall off like my current Switch has. Okay, so physically they are basically the same systems because, well, they are. It's the internals that have changed. Let's see if there's anything else in these boxes that are different. So on the bottom layer, we have all the other stuff in the box. We've got our cables on the right sides, wait, right or left sides? Left sides, orientation. The left sides, we have our HDMI cables and power cables. In the middle, we've got our grips. You can see if these are any different. I really doubt it. There's the old one. There's the new, oh, there's one important difference. The paperwork was on the middle for this one. It's on the right for this one. Very different box design. It's probably just the guy that set up the box. It has nothing to do with anything intentional. Okay, so, yep, same grips. Nothing different here. And then, of course, we have our dock. Oh, wait. I've been starting with this one the whole time. I should keep that rhythm going. Can't break it at the end. So, original Switch. Original. Old original. Yeah, it's the clean dock. And the new one. Just do a quick little glance here. So yeah, for sure, absolutely, there are no major immediate noticeable differences between these two Switches. Of course, that was never really the advertised push. The main goal here is that the new one has that better battery life and that new processor, but for sure, all the other parts of it, same stuff. I'm gonna start doing a lot more in-depth tests. I'm gonna see how games run on both of them, make sure that we actually see the difference in what battery life really is, see if there's maybe any light changes in performance, although I'm pretty skeptical about it, but we will see, as well as maybe even open up these Joy-Cons and see if they might have fixed that stick issue. Well, now that I've got this new Switch on hand, I am also gonna make it my new primary. I've got my old Switch right here, which has been very heavily falling apart. One thing I'm really interested about with the refresh as well, that's not gonna be as easy to test or see right away, is if they've changed anything with the plastic used in the molding. Because one of the complaints I've had with the original Switch is that it doesn't age super well. Heat gets to it over time and it can cause a lot of cracking issues. I did not change the back just because I wanted to have a GameCube design. I changed it because all the backplate here was getting cracks around all the screws. And in fact, you can even see on the heat vents on top, I've completely lost the grill. There's no plastic teeth anymore. They've all ripped and popped off because they just started cracking over time. So I'm happy to have a new one that's gonna be actually clean and fresh looking, and hopefully it maintains that look for longer, because I'm generally pretty good about taking care of my system, and it just naturally over time started falling apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on transferring all my data over to this new Switch and start testing it alongside this old original Switch that's new, and see what any kind of major notable differences are. If you guys are also having trouble tracking down one of these new Switch designs, the way we did it is we actually used a website that allows us to search for what UPC belongs to the newer Switches and what stores currently have them listed in stock. So we'll have that link for you to check out.